Welcome to the treasure trove of folk tales, a magical collection of stories that have inspired generations. Embark on a mythical journey with heroes, fairies, and enchanting creatures, opening the door to a world of imagination and emotion.
The story of the merchant Sidi Nu'uman, in the splendid capital of Baghdad. During the glorious reign of the Khalifa, Harun al-Rashid, there was a man named Sidi Nu'uman. He was a middle-class merchant, not rich enough to be extravagant, but not poor enough to have to struggle to make a living. The merchant Sidi was respected by the people because of his gentle nature, his ability to treat others, and most importantly, his pure heart, always believing in goodness. But in Baghdad, where the streets were paved with shiny stones, leading to the gilded palace, where every corner of the street, there was a hidden mystery. People's lives never passed peacefully forever. One day, the merchant Sidi met his destined wife, a beautiful young woman named Khadija. She was not from a noble family, but her radiant beauty and eyes like a lake on a moonlit night captivated anyone who saw her. The merchant Sidi fell in love, and soon they became husband and wife. In the first months of their marriage, everything seemed perfect. She was gentle, took good care of her husband, spoke little, but always kept a mysterious beauty, difficult to describe, but that mystery gradually sowed seeds of doubt in the merchant Sidi's heart. The merchant Sidi realized that every time night fell, Khadija often made an excuse of being tired, then asked permission to leave very early. She never stayed with her husband, talking until late at night, like other couples. In particular, there were nights when she disappeared from her private room and returned in the morning, her face pale, but her eyes were strangely bright. Once, while pretending to sleep, the merchant Sidi opened his eyes and saw his wife walking out of the room with a ghostly appearance, holding a bronze bowl in her hand, whispering incomprehensible incantations. Fear rose in him. Could she be someone from another world? From that day on, the merchant Sidi lost his appetite and sleep. The obsession urged him to discover the truth. And then one night, in the dim moonlight, he quietly followed Khadija. Khadija walked through the dark alleys, out of Baghdad, towards an ancient cemetery. The night wind howled eerily. Fireflies flickered, illuminating each mossy tombstone. When the earth and rocks shook, the tomb lid flew open, revealing an undecayed mummy. Before the merchant Sidi's eyes, Khadija bent down, and horrifyingly, she tore pieces of raw flesh from the corpse, chewing greedily, with eyes filled with pleasure. Blood flowed down, staining the bronze bowl in her hand red. The merchant Sidi choked, almost screaming out loud. His heart almost stopped beating. The virtuous wife, whom he had loved for so long, turned out to be a monster, a corpse-eating witch living among humans. From that night on, the merchant Sidi could not bear it. He shivered every time he looked at his wife, but remained silent, for fear that if she knew that the secret had been discovered, he would lose his life. One morning, in a moment of confusion, the merchant Sidi accidentally uttered a dark reproach, referring to his wife's terrible habit. Khadija immediately understood that her husband had seen everything. Her eyes flashed with a fierce light. "You dared to spy on me, and know my secret. Then, live another life, so that for the rest of your life, you will never tell the truth again." Saying this, she recited a spell, sprinkling a handful of black powder on the merchant Sidi's face. His whole body trembled, and then he transformed into a huge dog. Right before her eyes, Khadija smiled coldly, took the whip, and hit him hard on the back. "From now on, you are just an animal. Go, and remember, I am your ruler." The merchant, Sidi, now, in the form of a stray dog, wandered the streets of Baghdad, He was shunned, stoned by children, and chased away by shopkeepers. Hunger, thirst, and humiliation followed him endlessly. One day, when he collapsed in front of a mosque, he was discovered by a dervish, an ascetic priest. The dervish looked deeply into the dog's eyes and realized that inside, there was not the soul of an animal, but the soul of a human. He brought the dog home, whispered prayers, and sprinkled holy water. Light covered it, and miraculously, the merchant Sidi magically transformed back into himself. He burst into tears, knelt down to thank him. After hearing the story, the dervish advised, to escape the disaster, you must turn back and face it. Only truth and justice can defeat the darkness. With the help of the dervish, the merchant Sidi returned to the house and found Khadija preparing another strange ritual. He rushed in and grabbed the bronze bowl. She screamed and chanted, but the dervish stood next to her and read the scriptures, which destroyed her magic. In desperation, Khadija screamed violently and turned into a black smoke to escape, but the light from the scriptures surrounded her, turning her into a mass of ashes blown away by the wind. Merchant Sidi escaped the curse, but he was no longer the same person. The days of being turned into a dog, suffering contempt, left a wound that would never heal. He became a quiet, devout man, and spent the rest of his life to atone for his sins, to find peace for his soul. When the story reached the ears of King Khalifa Harun al-Rashid, he summoned merchant Sidi to the palace. After hearing the details, the king shuddered. How strange! But justice has been served. You, merchant Sidi, let this be a lesson, that blind faith sometimes leads us into the hands of evil. From then on, merchant Sidi was rewarded for his courage, daring to face his cruel fate. However, he himself was not proud. What he wanted was to forget everything, and let his warning save those who were about to fall into the trap of enchantment, of magical beauty. When Shahrazada stopped, the whole palace fell silent. King Shah pondered, both awed and fascinated by the story of the merchant Sidi Nu'uman, who had returned from darkness to light. And then, Shahrazada leaned slightly, with a mysterious smile revealing, Your Majesty, if this story seems strange enough to you, then please listen to the next story, where the fate of a princess named Daryabar will draw us into a new vortex of adventures, magic, and destiny. It is a story of love, tested, of castles shrouded in mysterious mists, and intrigue stained with blood and tears. And so, the king leaned again, eagerly waiting for the next night.
The tale has come to an end, yet the magic of these legends lives on in your heart. Keep dreaming and spreading the